Hi, and welcome to the Innovations Devlog for the 3rd of November 2023. Let's get started. So first up, we've been trying to integrate more the branding and animations and user experience of some of the games that we've been creating. So that includes the soft skills game and the swipe game. So I can show you a little bit of a demo of that. So this is an example of the soft skills UI that's been refactored and redesigned to incorporate some of the Cloud Academy branding and colors and such. There's some effort that's gone into here to kind of bring it closer to the branding, so once things are in platform they feel a lot more aligned. Where else we're doing this is the swipe game, and we have been looking at this with a combination of people. So Ollie in the design team has taken a stab at redesigning this with a kind of more flat design, and then Matt Osborne and the animation team has taken that design as well as some other concepts and brought that into the animation space. And we think this is kind of an interesting workflow to perhaps take forward into some other projects where we can do animations for anything interactive. There's a lot to be said for that tactile feedback that you get when you incorporate animation very closely into UI and UX. So we're keen to explore that further. Now, keeping on the theme of the swipe game, something that Marcus has been looking at is how to generate content for the swipe game. We've showed this in a few iterations, and there's a future kind of use case out there where this becomes something that's kind of done at the time of playing the game. However, there's an important step before we get there that's between having to have lots of people work for a long time to create all these little storylets and content, but using AI to power that. So Marcus has been working on this technique that allows us to use generative AI to generate lots and lots of content for the swipe game that can then be edited by people.
So what I've done is I've bashed together a React front end, and I can, if I type cybersecurity, again, this is one that I've previously generated, so it will just fetch it from the cache. But so it goes away, and then rather than plugging it directly into the game, it just kind of fills out this UI. And this would normally have taken 3 or 4 minutes, but it's come back with the list of 8 characters that are to do with cybersecurity, and like a description of each of them. It's come back with some metrics, and each of them has like an emoji assigned to it. And I'll get back to this a bit later, but so it's come up with those 4 metrics, and then it's come up with the scenarios. Based on those characters and those metrics, it then generates 10 or 12 scenarios and the corresponding kind of yarn syntax like that you could plug into the game. And so the idea is this now has the content writer could just take this and sort of copy and paste it somewhere and start working. This is obviously just a very quick interface, but the idea I think would be that you could go in and you could actually edit this. Maybe it gives you the long list and you can just kind of like check the ones you want and then click generate scenarios. It gives you a yarn, and then you might be able to go in and actually type this, edit the text here, and then sort of click export, and it would give you something that you could plug directly into the game.
Now, something that Mark has been using along the way, it's not necessarily incorporated into this version, but is a concept that will probably be used for future games, is this idea of generative agents. And I sat down with Marcus earlier in the week to talk to him about that, so he could kind of express like what generative agents are, how they could be used in games and education. Haven't released the full interview yet, still working on the edit, but I can show you a bit of a clip here, and then I will release the whole thing very soon.
So it's an LLM that has the ability to decide when to call a function that will somehow affect its environment. So it's given tools, it's given the ability to output a kind of a structured output that can be sent off to either an API or a video game engine or something like that. And rather than them purely being prompted by the human user or the developer, the agents themselves have the ability to, through a structured output, they can build a prompt that is then sent to one of the other agents. It's kind of simulating multiple characters in a shared environment with shared goals and kind of like bouncing ideas off each other, or like working together towards a common goal.
Nicole has been working on a future iteration of the soft skills game, which incorporates animation and emotion to the AI character.
So what we've got is this is like a graph that has an X and Y value on it. 0 to 100 with like emotions. So we've got like angry, surprised, happy, and then the top graph is like their understanding of what you've been talking about. So if they're confused, if they're excited about the stuff that you're doing. So and what's cool is we can sort of smoothly blend between these different states. So if you can see our faces, like just move this, and it's all just done with data points on that X and Y graph. So we can plug that in externally, hopefully using ChatGPT potentially, and then we can sort of increment that change. So hopefully by the end of the conversation, they're like happy, you know, and not confused. So this is layered on top of the lip syncing and eye blinks and all the other sort of micro expressions that the AI is doing.
Finally, I did a bit of production exploration earlier in the week. I kind of stumbled across a new feature inside of Resolve, which is text-based editing, which I think is really helpful actually for some of the content that we might be putting out in the future in regards to vodcast or interviews. It's the idea of taking a clip, transcribing that clip, and then being able to edit via the text, not having to like worry about in and out points for the video. Could massively speed up some of our workflows. I also did an updated studio tour. It's more of a kind of deep tech dive into the technology that powers the studio. I just thought I'd do an updated thing. We've kind of been using the same system for a few months now, and things have started to stabilize a little bit. So I thought it was an opportunity to jump in there when there was a shoot happening and kind of show what was going on. So that's about it for this week and last. We're heading out to Mendrisio next week, so I'll have a bit more to update from then, meet some people, talk to everyone. Looking forward to it. See you soon.